The most comforting thing about the third bullet hole in my living room wall is that it didn't hit the dog. When the lottery machine spit out that little slip of paper, matching all 6 numbers for a staggering $300 million grand prize, I thought I'd bought my way out of the human condition. I thought money was a shield. It took exactly 48 hours after my name was made public to realize that $300 million isn't wealth. It's a giant neon bullseye painted on your back, radiating a frequency that turns everyone you love into a starving monster. It started with the mail. Not bills, but thick, heavy envelopes with no return addresses. The first one contained photos of my sister leaving her apartment, my mother at the grocery store, and me sleeping in my own bed. The text underneath was pasted from magazine clippings, 50 million by Friday, or we start sending them back to you in pieces. I tried to call the police, but the local cops looked at me not as a victim, but as an ATM in a tight spot. Their eyes lingered on my custom watch, their pens moving slowly over the report. "We'll look into it, Mr. Vance." The detective smiled, a slick, predatory baring of teeth. "But you know, a donation to the Police Benevolent Association goes a long way in securing 24-hour surveillance." The extortion wasn't just coming from the shadows. It was sitting across from me at the kitchen table. Sarah, my partner of 6 years, the woman I had planned to propose to with a modest half-carat ring, changed overnight. The warmth in her eyes evaporated, replaced by a cold, calculating ledger. I found the burner phone in her purse on a Tuesday. She hadn't even bothered to lock it. On the screen was a text exchange with her ex-boyfriend, detailing my daily schedule, my security codes, and a PDF of a forged prenuptial agreement. When I confronted her, she didn't cry. She didn't even look guilty. "You think you're better than me now?" she whispered, her voice dripping with a malice I'd never heard before. "You owe me half. If I leave, I'm telling the press about your tax shelters. I'm telling them whatever I have to. You're going to pay me, or I'll make sure you have nothing left to protect." By Thursday, she was gone, along with $4 million from our joint account and a piece of my soul. The world outside became a minefield. Walking to my car felt like marching to a firing squad. Every footsteps behind me on the pavement made my chest tighten. Every delivery driver, every jogger, every car idling too long at the curb was a potential assassin. Paranoia became my oxygen. I stopped sleeping. I bought a security system that cost more than my childhood home, turning my mansion into a high-tech fortress. But the walls only kept out the honest people. The worst part wasn't the enemies, though. It was the friends. Or rather, the sycophants who replaced them. The few people who stayed around me, old college buddies, cousins I hadn't seen in a decade, suddenly lost the ability to say the word no. "Hey, should we buy out the entire VIP section of the club and hire an ambulance to follow us around just in case?" I'd ask, laughing hysterically, testing their limits. "Bro, brilliant idea. You're a genius," they'd cheer, nodding like plastic bobbleheads. I ordered a Tiger. I bought a fleet of sports cars I didn't know how to drive. I started renting out entire 5-star hotels just so I wouldn't have to look at strangers. No one stopped me. No one told me I was losing my mind. Boundaries simply ceased to exist. When you have unlimited capital, the laws of gravity and morality seem to bend around you. My entourage became a mirror that only reflected back what I wanted to see, clapping enthusiastically as I danced closer to the edge of the cliff. And that became the real horror. The terrifying bottomless void of absolute freedom. To cope with the suffocating terror of the death threats, to numb the agonizing sting of Sarah's betrayal, I needed an escape. Standard pleasures stopped working almost immediately. Normal adrenaline rushes felt flat. When you can buy anything, nothing has value. I needed bigger thrills, darker distractions to drown out the paranoia. I started gambling millions on single rolls of dice in underground basements just to feel the sickening, beautiful jolt of potentially losing. When that bored me, the vices grew more sinister. I began paying people to play terrifying games with me. I bought an abandoned asylum on the outskirts of the city and hired desperate, broke actors to hunt me through the dark with blunt weapons, just so I could remember what genuine adrenaline felt like. I poured millions into chemically altered narcotics, substances cooked up in private labs that promised to erase my mind for 12 hours at a time. My body became a temple of excess, rotting from the inside out, fueled entirely by the need to forget that someone, somewhere, was planning to put a bullet through my skull for the numbers on my bank statement. Last night, the game stopped being a game. I woke up from a drug-induced stupor on the floor of my master bedroom. The house was dead silent. The cameras were dark. The power had been cut. My entourage, the loyal dogs who swore they'd die for me, were nowhere to be found. They had taken the keys to the sports cars and fled the moment the perimeter alarms went off. A single red laser dot danced across my chest, bleeding through the floor-to-ceiling glass windows. I crawled on my stomach into the hallway, the cold marble biting into my skin. My phone buzzed in my hand. It was an unknown number. I answered it, my breath rattling in my throat. "We bypassed the gates, Mr. Vance," a muffled voice said. "Your head of security was surprisingly cheap to buy out, only cost us $500,000. You see, the problem with having all the money in the world is that everyone else knows exactly how much you have to lose." I sit here now, pressed against the hallway wall, clutching a gold-plated revolver I don't know how to use. I can hear heavy footsteps echoing up the grand staircase. I am worth $300 million on paper, but right now, I would give every single penny for a locked door that holds, or a single human being who loved me enough to shout a warning. The lottery didn't make me rich. It just paid for my execution, and I was the one who spent the money to build the gallows.